NVIDIA officially released it for the mainstream market. The 5th and 6th members of the Ada RTX 40 series. RTX 4060 Ti and RTX 4060? But this time it was only on paper. The RTX 4060 Ti 8GB will be unlocked next Tuesday night, May the 23rd. And the RTX 4060 Ti 16GB and RTX 4060 will have to wait until July. RTX 4060 Ti 8GB based on a D106 350 GPU core? Still TSMC 4 in process. The full-blood AD106 core can be divided into 3 groups of GPC and 36 groups of SM. A total of 4,608 CUDA cores, 36 are T cores, and 144 Tenor cores. And RTX 4060 Ti only opened 34 sets of SM. 4,352 CUDA cores, 34 are T cores, 136 Tensor cores. At the same time, it has 136 texture units and 48 ROP units. 8th generation VINC encoder, 5th generation DIC decoder. Support AV1 hardware codec. Core base frequency 2310 MHz, acceleration frequency 2535 MHz. The video memory is equipped with 128-bit GDDR6, and the equivalent frequency is 18 GHz. The bandwidth is 288 GB, and the TGP of the whole card is 160W. We have repeated many times that this is equivalent to a wall of power consumption, which is actually not reached at all. The official data is that the average game power consumption is 140W. The video playback power consumption is 13W, the standby power consumption is 7W, and the auxiliary power supply is a dual 8-pin interface. By the way, the system bus channel of RTX 4060 Ti is Key 4.0x8. In other words, the bandwidth is 16 GB, cut in half. This is the first time in the RTX 40 series. Of course, this is enough for mainstream graphics cards. However, it is not recommended to use a processor that only supports Key 3.0, such as Intel 10th generation core, AMD Ryzen 5000G. Otherwise you can only get Key 3.0x8 8GB. Compared with the previous generation product RTX 3060 Ti, RTX 4060 Ti still adheres to the strategy of reducing core size and memory specifications. Better performance with greater architectural efficiency and greater power efficiency. Among them, the number of CUDA cores is reduced by 10%. The memory interface width is reduced by half. The memory interface width is reduced by 36%, and the system bus bandwidth is reduced by half. However, NVIDIA emphasized that the L2 cache has been increased by 7 times to 32 MB. Equivalent bandwidth up to 544 GB, higher hit rate. Therefore, the demand for video memory bandwidth and capacity is lower. Also important for improved ray tracing and DLSS 3 performance. Official data shows that the theoretical performance of shader, RT, and tensor increased by 38%, 60%, and 171% respectively. And TGP, average game, video playback, standby power consumption, respectively decreased by 20%, 29%, 32%, and 42%. Compared to RTX 3060 Ti and RTX 2060 Super, DLSS performance increased by an average of 15% and 60% respectively. But if you turn on DLSS 3 frame generation technology, the improvement rate can reach 70% and 160% respectively. More than 300 games and applications currently support DLSS. There are 33 games that support DLSS 3. The official price of the RTX 4060 Ti 8GB starts at 3,199 yuan, $399. 200 yuan higher than the initial price of the RTX 3060 Ti 2.5 years ago. RTX 4060 Ti 16GB official price starts at 3,899 yuan, $499. Will be available in July. RTX 4060, based on AD107-400. This is by far the smallest core in the Ada family. The number of CUDA cores is only 3072. L2 cache capacity 24 MB, acceleration frequency 24 GHz. The memory configuration is still 128-bit 8 GB GDDR6. The equivalent frequency is reduced to 17 GHz, and the bandwidth is only 272 GB. The system bus is still P 4.0x8. Naturally lower power consumption, TGP 115W. Game average 110W. Video playback 11W. Standby 7W. Compared to the previous generation RTX 3060, the number of cores is reduced by 14%, and the memory bandwidth is reduced by 33%. 25% less memory bandwidth, and 33% less memory capacity. TGP, average game, video playback, standby power consumption, were reduced by 32%, 35% and 15% respectively. Theoretical performance of shader, RT, tensor, increased by 15%, 40%, and 137% respectively. Compared to RTX 3060 and RTX 2060, DLSS performance increased by 20% and 60% respectively. After turning on DLSS 3-frame generation technology, the improvement rate can reach 70% and 130%. The official price of RTX 4060 starts at 2,399 yuan, 100 yuan cheaper than the initial price of RTX 3060. So what do you think about this? Welcome to leave a message in the comment area, let's discuss together.